Hi. I love you guys. My question is, who am I?
You are whoever you are perceiving yourself to be in any moment in time, and it changes a lot. Sometimes you are so in sync with who we are that we are same, and that's when you most want to ask that question. Because then we say who you are is inspired and enlightened, who you are is liquid love, who you are is on the path to all things wanted. But you might ask the question in a moment of pinching it off, and then the answer could be momentarily different. But we have a question back to you. Why is it important? Who am I in relationship to others? Who am I in relationship to who I've ever been? Who am I in relationship to the source within me? Who am I in relationship to all that is potentially there? It's a very big question. It's all about focus, isn't it? So we could talk about potential. We could talk about certainty. We could talk about the current now. Who you are is reflected to you in every moment by the emotions that you feel. And if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would evaluate who we be in any moment based upon the direction and intensity of the emotion that we feel. And we'd be shooting for something that ranged between a feeling of absolute calm well-being and bouncing off the wall enthusiasm. In other words, that would be the range that we would want to discover ourselves to be. So who you are is a vibrational being who has the ability to focus yourself into any combination of vibrations and therefore to reflect any experience imaginable. Who you are is a practiced being who understands the frequency of vibration and the emotional relationship to them, who guides yourself specifically and beneficially toward alignment most of the time.
Sometimes
we would like to ask you the same question. Who are we? You told us you love us. Who are we? From your vantage point, we want to know. How do you define? Who do you see? Who are we? Who do you know us to be?
Pure consciousness that's adoring and loving and hanging back to look out for us.
And could you know our adoration if you did not match it and feel it?
No, of course not.
Then we are the same.
Sometimes you speak of intentions coming here, and but not too often, and to not get too caught up in it. But I'm still curious, mostly because I find myself wondering, I feel a little kind of alien here, especially when I was younger. And
the more aligned you are, the more fish out of water you feel around a culture that's not in alignment.
Yeah. And I guess the other part of my question of who am I is why is my life so crazy?
Because you focus all over the place and you're still filling your vortex with wonderful things and finding your balance and learning to focus. Like anyone who just got into a hot car.
Why so much contrast in the beginning, did I ask, for these things?
Because you wanted a running start. You wanted your vortex to be ripe so that by the time you came into conscious awareness of who you really are, that the momentum would already be in place.
To build more momentum.
To allow the momentum that you'd already established. In other words, contrast caused you to put a lot there fast. And now, in other words, you've heard us speak of step 1, 2, 3. Step 1 is contrast causes asking. Step 2 is source answers. And our new way of describing that is the vortex holds the answers in vibrational escrow in readiness for your readiness. And step 3 is your readiness, your vibrational readiness. And when your vibrational readiness is achieved moment by moment by moment, it's not like a college degree that once you get it, it's yours forevermore. It either is or it isn't in the moment, and you can tell by the way you feel whether it is or isn't. So once that readiness is in place, then the vortex begins to fill in naturally. And so you said, I will go forth into an environment with contrast. I will put plenty in my vortex so that early on I will come into vibrational awareness of who I am, so that I can deliberately live life on purpose for the, and this ties in with your first question, so that I can live as a conscious, creative example and therefore be advantage to others. You see, living life on purpose is so much more fun than living life by default. If none of you ever heard any of this from us, you would do just fine. Not only fine, it would be perfect in the sense that you would still explore contrast, you would still cause personal expansion, you would still feel the discord of not lining up with your expansion, and eventually, one way or another, you would come into some measure of harmony with your expansion, and you could live a reasonably happy life experience. From our perspective, the success of life is measured by the level and consistency of joy. So you would all have success in that you would all launch the rockets, and you would all have a reasonable amount of joy, because you can't stay focused doggedly on what you don't want all the time. Eventually you sleep, and eventually you will reemerge into non-physical, where you will come into full realization of all that you have created.
Can I do that here?
But you said, I want to do it while I'm focused in my physical body. And did you see how we were headed there with our long explanation, and you got there right before we did? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
I love you.